Hey, good morning, guys. So I originally was not going to do this in a chit chat video. I was gonna sit down at my house and have a conversation about this subject, but I was like, I'm currently on my way to the appointment right now, so why not just be real and talk about it on the way, And so today I want to chat about going through other medical procedures or medical things when still like healing from a vestibular disorder. And because I feel like I want to preface it with this. I feel like, those of us that are dealing with vestibular disorders or, there's a big category, okay? So I'm just gonna ball it all into one, okay? But when you deal with these kind of disorders, a lot of times other things may be going on with your body that need to be taken care of, or you kind of put on the back burner because you're like, oh, I can't do one more thing because I'm already dealing with all of this. But the thing is, when you're dealing with a chronic condition, it actually is not always a good idea to just let things go that may need, to be checked on a regular basis. And that's kind of what I want to talk to you guys about today. Now, I want to tell you guys this also at the very beginning. I do not want you guys to worry about me because I am okay. I'm not worried about my results or whatever they may be. But I want to bring more awareness because it's like I kind of was putting things off when I knew I had a history of something, okay? So now I'll get into it. So this definitely has to do with lady stuff. I'm gonna talk about my ovaries. I'm an open book. You guys know this. And so if you don't want to hear about the kind of procedures that some of us ladies have to go through, then maybe click out now because it's just, unless you're curious, it's whatever. But the reality of it is, we have annuals, or we're supposed to, or, and because of the vestibular stuff that I was going through, I really put it on the back burner. And I want to say it was after I had my children. So my youngest is 14, guys. That's crazy in the first place. But I have a history of abnormal PAPs. And so that's just something I've kind of dealt with for the last 14 years or so. And, I've had to go through, how do I explain this? Because there's so much, I want to try to condense it. So it was after my last one was born. I had an abnormal one. So then the next step after that is they'll either retest you again after a little while, or if they feel like you need to have, I don't know the actual pronunciation of it. It's like a colposcopy or something like that. But basically what it is they take a biopsy of your cervix or the cells or something that they feel like something doesn't look right, and so they'll take a biopsy of it. So many, many, many years ago, I had that done. And unfortunately, mine didn't turn out very good. I did have precancerous cells growing down there. And so I had to go through a LEEP procedure. And if you're curious about that, it's just called LEEP. You can look it up. I'm just going to be blunt and just tell you what it is. They burn it off. And I'll be honest, it was not a pleasant experience, but when you have a situation like that, you can't just say, no, I don't want this done. Those cells would have grown and become cancerous. You just don't mess around with that kind of stuff, okay? So like I said, this was many, many years ago. And then since then, I've had abnormal PAPs and I've had normal ones. They kind of just back and forth, but I haven't had to have a biopsy or another LEEP procedure since then. And so a couple of years ago, in the midst of all the vestibular stuff, my husband forced me. He's like, Monica, you at least need to get your pap done and make sure everything's okay, because it had been a while. And so I'll be honest, that was when I was in the thick of all of this, so it's kind of a blur. I made it through it, obviously, and but that pap was abnormal. This was a couple of years ago, but they did a second test on top of it, and then it showed that I was in the clear. I'm hoping this is all making sense. I have a point of where I'm going with all this, okay? But I just kind of wanted to give you guys my little history first. So speed up to just the last month. So I was like, it's been a couple of years. I also have a history of cysts on my ovaries. And now I've only ever had to have surgery once to get cyst removed, because it's not uncommon to have cysts on your ovaries. It's actually very, very common. But there's a difference between like just regular fluid filled cysts and like ones that are solid filled. I'm going to keep this really basic because this is how I best understand it as well. And so in the past as well, I had one that was solid and didn't look good, so they wanted to go in there and remove it. And then in the midst of that, they removed 20 plus cysts on each of my ovaries, being they were in there. They did that laparoscopically. So anyways, over the past years too, I've also had a history of still not producing large, like super large solid cysts, but I do currently have one yet. They saw it a couple of years ago. They're supposed to keep an eye on it. Well, I was supposed to keep up with my appointments and I didn't, okay? And this is the point that I want to get at, guys. When you have a history of this stuff, regardless of, like, I do feel like all my stuff's gonna turn out just fine. I'm not scared of the results. I just am not. I don't have fear towards it. But the point is, I still have to make sure I'm taking care of myself. And so, like I said, it was about a month ago, or not a month ago, a few weeks ago maybe, I went in for like my annual, and they did a full screening on me, you know, women's health check thing. They do all the things, and everything was coming back fine. And then I get a call that this last pap that I just had done was abnormal. And they said, based off of your history, we want to do a biopsy and just make sure nothing, you know, is happening there. So there's that one thing that I'm going to come back to. So hopefully you're following everything here. So I have an abnormal pap that we have to deal with now, because they're not just going to let it be this time. Kind of based off of my age too. I'm 38 years old. And then also they set up an appointment for me to get an ultrasound of my ovaries to see what has happened to that cyst since a couple of years ago. And literally I'm on my way to that appointment right now. I've had those ultrasounds tons of times. I'm not worried about this one. I'm not worried about what it feels like, pain or anything like that. I deal with those actually really well. And so I'm just praying, and my friend's praying too, that it's either disappeared or hasn't grown. That's the goal. So there's that. But just last week, I got a call from the doctor who'd been dealing, my gynecologist that was dealing with all this with me. And so I'm like, you know, I'm so proud of myself, because I know you guys have been noticing too. I'm doing new treatment. I'm trying different things right now, and I'm feeling a lot better. And I'm like doing these doctor's appointments by myself, and I feel like I'm handling things really, really well. And even like when I went to go get my pap done this last time, I'm like, man, I rocked that. I was proud of myself. And just all these different things. And then I get the phone call just last week about my pap, and they're like, it's abnormal, but they're like, we want to do a colposcopy, or however you say it, the biopsy. And on the phone call, I was like, okay, you know, that sucks, obviously, but not, you know, I understand, you know, I need to get this done. Because here's the thing, guys. I know a lot of people, when they go through medical things, they're worried about the results. I'm not worried about the results. Like, it's the procedure and getting it done. And now, like I said, I got off that phone call. I'm going to have to wrap this up because I'm getting to my appointment here, but I literally just broke down because it wasn't the fact that I was really scared, but it was just the whole one more thing. Like, one more thing to add to the list of everything else I have to do. Look, I'm getting almost teary-eyed now. Crap. And it's like, I know I'm stronger. I know I'm doing better, but I just want you guys to know that it's okay to cry and let it out. And it was funny too, because my best friend just happened to call me as I started melting down, and you know what? I needed it, you know, because the thing is, yeah, I'm feeling good, I'm healing and stuff, but I'm human, and you know, it's okay to be a little nervous or be a little scared. And you know, I had my moment, but the thing is, I want to tell you guys, don't put things off though. You know, even if they're scary or they're not easy to go through, we got to take care of our whole body. So if you have stuff going on, I want to encourage you, have a friend go with you, do something, do whatever you need to do, because don't let a vestibular or nervous system disorder or anything like that keep you from taking care of yourself, because you know, we don't want the worst case scenario to happen either, okay? Because that's not it's just not good, okay? So I just want to encourage you, if you have things that you need to do, please go get them done. Take care of your whole self. So I have to get into my appointment now. I love you guys. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.